Okay, we are now recording.
Excellent. Oh, it's 3 o'clock exactly. Look at this. Look at what we did. Thank you for the tech team at DATAG for hooking me up. So I'm going to let Alex do his job now.
All right. So hi, everybody. My name is Alex Stanton. I'm the Director of Data at the Rondout Valley Central School District. I'm honored today to introduce two of my colleagues who work for my RIC. They make my life and all of us in the Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center area much easier. Certainly when I first started as a data coordinator about 6 years ago, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have known anything or been able to accomplish anything. So I'm very thankful for them and all their service to us. So to get to the introductions, with us today is Helen Gutfreund. She's the Data Warehouse Help Desk Lead at the Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center. She holds a Bachelor's of Fine Arts and Visual Arts from Tufts University and a Bachelor of Science in Art Education from SUNY New Paltz. She's been at the RIC for a little over 6 years and fancies her role at the center of the Venn diagram of data, art, and education. I'm not as fancy with words. I didn't write this. And then joining us through Zoom is Pamela Walkowiak. She is a data warehouse specialist at the Mid-Hudson RIC. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Math from Bridgewater State College and a Master of Science in Computer Science from Union College. She was a district data coordinator in a district for 8 years before moving to the RIC, where she's also worked for over 8 years, serving as a shared district data coordinator. Her keen attention to detail, coupled with her understanding of the big picture, fully supports districts with their state reporting questions. Thank you, Pam and Helen, for presenting.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, thanks for coming. I was concerned when I saw it was a double room. I'm glad everyone is here. Thank you. I know this is the last session of the day, so hopefully it is going to be informative, actionable, and a little bit entertaining, because we all need a little bit of entertainment after all of the data and whatnot. So, and I have my notes over here, so I'm going to be sort of going back and forth, so just know that. Wolves are really great trackers. Let me start by saying the information on your paper schedules, it just says the tracker. So first of all, you're very adventurous people for coming here, not knowing possibly what you were getting into. We are going to talk about a tracking solution. It's essentially a spreadsheet, workbook solution that keeps you and your data verification teams literally on the same page, which I know is a challenge, because having been a shared district data coordinator, along with my other colleagues. By the way, I do have a colleague in the back of the room, Michelle Ruggio, who is a great supporter of this work. So I just wanted to say I appreciate her being here and giving help to this also. So we were a team of shared district data coordinators. And how do you track? Shared means, by the way, 2, 3, 4 districts, 5 districts. Some of us had 5 districts who we were the acting district data coordinators for. There was a contact at the district who we would talk to, but we were primarily responsible for making sure that district's data was clean, that it was accurate, that it was complete, and follow the business rules for data reporting. But the question comes about, you have 5 districts to take care of, or even just 1 district. How do you keep all of that tracking information in one place? We had the issue where we would, each district would also be different. So if we're working with one district and we send emails to one person and they disseminate through their district, that's one way. We could also possibly send emails to multiple people in a district, the food services director, the special services director, the this director, that director, department head. And it was just very confusing. There's no way you can track emails, you can put things in a folder, or you can assign a color to the whatever you want to do. But to track these emails with sometimes 20 or 30 parts to the thread, you try to read that backwards, you're just confused, you know? I was, my districts were, and what I wanted was a tool to be able to communicate with all of the people I needed to communicate with and have us see the same thing at the same time. So there was no more of that confusion with long threads, or this one wants a phone call, or that one wants an email, and gosh, I just texted this other person. So one place for all things. It's meant to be that kind of catch-all. That's just, well, let's see. I should probably do this here. That's just us in case you wanted something in print. There we are again, the tracker. Okay. So full disclosure, I'm really good at AI. And so I fed into a program a prompt that said, make me a logo called the tracker with a wolf face in the middle. And this is after, there were multiple iterations. This is what I came up with. So am I using AI? Yes. You should too. Okay. Wolves. What are they known for? Precision. How are wolves precise? Who knows anything about wolves or dogs? No one? Yes. Yeah, good. So they're using all of their senses. They're seeing what's in front of them and around them. They're using their ears. They can hear in multiple directions. Their sense of smell. They can smell things miles and miles away, right? And that speaks to efficiency. They're using all these things to hone in on the one thing. They have attention to detail, right? They know what direction they're supposed to be going in based on all of that information that they're gathering, right? They're adaptable, right? They can live in different kinds of environments and change on the fly when they have to, right? There's a social structure. So wolves, there's a wolf pack, right? And everyone has their role that they play. And talking about that too, teamwork. You know, there's a lone wolf, or there's the wolf pack. How are you going to get more work done? Are you going to be a lone wolf? Or are you going to be a wolf pack? Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, this woman's insane. What does this have to do with anything? Well, I'm a former art teacher also, so know that. So I get a little creative and silly when it comes to these things. I promise it'll make sense. In my research about wolves, you're like, why are you doing research about wolves, Helen? This is about a spreadsheet. In my research about wolves, I came across a really interesting concept that Michelle actually tipped me off to, called the Yellowstone Wolf Trophic Cascade. What the heck is that? That is when there was there were no wolves left in Yellowstone, right? No wolves left in Yellowstone. And, well, what are we going to do about this? In the mid-90s, and the wolves were gone from Yellowstone because we did it, right? in the mid-90s, I'm not sure which organization, and I don't have any references for you about this whatsoever, but you can look up Yellowstone Wolf Trophic Cascade and you'll find it. There were 14 wolves that were reintroduced to Yellowstone after not being there for a long, long time. And what they found happened was with these 14 wolves that were reintroduced, there's something like 140 now, 10 packs, right? So the area has been repopulated with wolves. What happened was that before the wolves were there, the herbivores like the elk and the deer were eating all of the flora down to nubs. So they would eat all the leaves off of the trees down to nothing. They would eat all the plants, all the flowering plants. When the wolves were reintroduced, the herbivores were like, oh heck, we have a predator now. Let's not linger around so much and eat all the wildflowers. Let's not linger around so much and eat all the trees. Let's take a few leaves and we'll move on, right? So the herbivores got less energetic, let's say, right? What happened as a result of that was that the vegetation in Yellowstone Park reemerged because there's not all these animals eating it down to the bare bones anymore. And this is actually a picture of peak wildflower season in Yellowstone Park. So that's what it looks like after the wolves came. Because there's this reabundance of vegetation, we have now plant-eating insects. And of course, plant-eating insects turn into butterflies. Who's heard of the butterfly effect? Right. So the butterfly, who wants to say what their perception of the butterfly effect is? You're not going again.
A little flutter becomes a bigger ripple and off it goes.
Exactly. And sometimes in unexpected ways. So this being like you reintroduced wolves, and now you have butterflies where there were none before. So it's kind of an unexpected thing. Multiple steps have to happen to get there. But in the end, there's a metamorphosis. Okay. So the history of the tracker is this. As I mentioned, we were all shared district data coordinators having a hard time keeping track of things. The districts had a hard time, and so did we. So another thing that districts tend to have a hard time with is the concept of a data verification team. Not only do they have a hard time with the concept of it, they have a hard time with buy-in in districts. Because a lot of times DDCs don't have the authority to say, you need to do this by a certain day. Well, you're not the superintendent. You can't tell me what to do, right? So there's that sort of difficulty that's happening. So we wanted to also create a way that data verification teams can actually have a centralized location. And not only do you now know what work you have to do, so does everyone else, and so does your DDC, okay? And you'll be able to communicate with each other. So the complicated communications, we started this as a way to track level 0 errors specifically, and it can grow. It can include UIAS errors. It can include L1C errors. Wherever you find information that you want to track, you can do it this way too. And how is this going to be efficient? There's a lot to track, a lot to look at. So I want to say that it is a work in progress. What I'm going to provide you today is not a final version of anything. And that's really by design, because I want to empower all of you to be able to take it and use it and make it your own. Here are some links for you. By the way, the links are also really great trackers if there's any cat folks in the audience and not all the dog folks. We have this for you. So what I'm going to actually do is go out to the tracker, hopefully. When you get this link, which won't probably be for a few days, so look for it next week. Like I said, this is not a final version of this. It's a work in progress. We want to get it a little bit more precise for you before we distribute it. But I want to show you the concept of it, and then you can run with that, okay? So when you do get the link, you're going to see this use template button up here in the upper right corner. When you click that, it comes up as a document, right? So, oops, there we go. So it comes up as a Google Sheet document. When you click that template link, what it does is it puts the document into your drive. It's no longer in my drive. I'm no longer supporting it. Once you download it and start working with it, it's yours. And any evolution that happens on it will be yours. We do have it on a drive that is accessible by everyone, and we will make updates to it, hopefully regularly if needed. So once you do get it, you can check back to see if we've made any updates and then re-download it, okay? Let's see. So as you can see, this is Google Sheets. How many work with Google Sheets? Mostly everyone? Okay. If you don't have a Google account, get one, Gmail account, right? So the most important thing to say is don't put, student PII in here. If you do put student PII in, that's okay. Just make sure that only the people who need access to that data have access to the document. You can share the document. You can say everyone with the link can get this, or you can say you have to be assigned a share that you can, I would recommend that way, only giving access to people who actually need it. So the director of each head of, the departments. This will make more sense when we look at it right now. There is an instruction tab, which tells you all about how to use the sheets that follow, or the tabs that follow, okay? I think the best thing, well, I'm just gonna keep going. You see here that we have all of the different templates color-coded into sections. So all the staff is like this paprika color, right? Demographics and enrollment are this yellow color, so on and so forth. You will see along the bottom that all the tabs are color-coded to those same colors, okay? That's enough about that one. Pam, did you want to say anything else about that tab?
No, the only thing, couple of comments, I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but when you said, it's customizable for every district, I mean, I was using it with 4 different districts and each one of them was unique. But even with that, I had one place to go for that district and to get the information on that district. It's a great way to consolidate and know what's going on. Another point I wanted to make is that, when you're talking about buy-in and the DDC, who may not be an administrator, is trying to get errors corrected, by sharing this out with administration within the district, they can get a glance at, well, how many errors do I have? And then they can be instrumental in getting those errors corrected in a timely manner. So there's various groups that you may want to include and share this information with. It, basically the people who can manage it and then the people who are actually making the corrections. And if you notice on row number 7 here, staff eval, this would be one instance where even though we try to go for a one-stop shop where you can have all your data errors in one place, that would be an instance where you may want to just create a separate document for that, because obviously that information is going to be far more sensitive than you know, the data student was enrolled. So it's here to be inclusive, but it may be something you want to pull out and create its own document along the same format. So, all right, I think that's it.
Thanks, Pam. You also, if you notice these columns here, these are these drop downs that we created that would tell you who is responsible for staff snapshot, for instance. Well, that's probably someone in your human resources team. These little drop downs, let's see, all of these have been defined. You can create these yourselves or use ours. How many people have worked with like conditional formatting and drop downs in Google Sheets? A few. Okay. It's really quite powerful and easy to use. And a lot of what's going on in this spreadsheet is that. So using these drop downs to be able to see quickly at a glance who's responsible for what, and so forth. So
Now I had another thought, Helen.
go ahead.
Okay, so Helen's comment of, you know, asking folks about how many have had, you know, experience with all the different functionality within Google Sheets. You may have somebody who's working to make enrollment changes, whose strengths in spreadsheets is not as strong as others. In that case, your method of communication with them may be simply to copy what's in the spreadsheet, given that they may have more difficulty going in there and learning what they need to learn to be able to manipulate or add to the spreadsheet. So, like I said before, each district will be different, but the advantage to the DDC and to the administration within the district is that all the information is in one place. But you may need to like do a copy and put it in an email to send it to a list of errors to a particular individual who may not have the strengths to manage their data within Google Sheets. Okay.
And more to Pam's point, and we'll see this on some tabs, is that you can assign a task to someone directly through Google Sheets. They get an email that they then become responsible for resolving, and then you get notices when it's resolved. That's the big thing here, or one of them anyway. So let's look at one of the templates. We're going to look at the enrollment template first. You can, let me see if I can smallin it.
Small.
Smallin. I don't have a beam, so I'm going to actually point. So this is how pretty much every one of the tabs is set up. Okay. As I mentioned before, not only will you see the color on the tab, but the entire sheet is going to be that color. So you know if you're in this like orangey one, you're in enrollment or demographics. You know that if you're in blue one over here, you're in SMS programs and related groupings, right? So what this does, and Pam, you're going to have to help me with the actual method of getting the data in here. But to show you this blank first, you have this here, enrollment. Good. There are 3 sections, right? So there's the A through E section, the dark section, the F through I is this medium, and then the J through L is a light color. So it differentiates 3 different areas that you're going to be looking at. Pam, could you talk to that more?
Sure. Okay, so the leftmost columns are basically the information you're going to grab from your level 0 errors. And as you probably know, you can export all your level 0 errors to a CSV file. And then, I mean, tracking anything involves overhead. And in order to track it well, you need to take the time to enter that information somewhere. I'm a big proponent of copy and paste. So what I typically do is I export that whole list of errors to, well, hopefully it's not too long, to a CSV file. I create the number of rows I need, and then I just paste that information right in here. So I could have a list of 10 student IDs. I would, make sure I have 10 rows there so I'm not overlaying anything below it, and paste those student IDs in there. If the error happens to have their grade level, I'd paste that in there, and their location. So it's a copy and paste. It goes relatively quick. And I've had districts with, tens of dozens of errors. It's a lot easier than trying to create an email and describe each error for each student. Okay, then also I copy and paste that column that says level 0 error. Part of that is so that the folks that are handling the error kind of get used to the terminology of the level 0 error. So it's a way of maybe through osmosis, the folks learning how, what each error means. But before that column, I have the initial error date. And this is where this is a column administration may be more interested in, this is the first date I found the error and I put it in here. And if it's now January and I put it in there in October, maybe it's time for somebody to take a look at that. So anyway, you can see and you fill it in. The DDC would typically, or as shared DDCs, we would do an analysis of it, which would mean, looking at the error, looking at the data in level 0, trying to determine what caused the error. And then as shared DDCs, since, we don't have face-to-face contact with the students or the, or teachers or whatnot, we would make a proposed solution. We had a pretty good accuracy rating here, but it's always, the folks in the district may say, oh, no, that's not it because of this. So they can always, go in here, type in a comment and say, well, you think I should change this, but I think I should change this. So you can have your communication right in here, back and forth. I always used like a date and my initials so that you could know who made what comment. And then the individual responsible for changing it could say done or complete, whatever, but it's not really complete until it's re-imported to level 0 and we know that that error went away. So the last group of columns are for the DDC to say, okay, when's the last date I looked at it? I may be up against a deadline. So column K that says temporary solution at level 0 might mean, okay, I've got an error here. I can't fix it. So I need to delete that record. So I'm going to make a note in there that I deleted it and then set the status. Now we do have some real world examples in the demographic tab, but we didn't want to bring it up first because it looks a little more busy.
This is scary.
Yeah, one more. There you go. Okay, so some real world examples. I'm not going to read through all of them, but you notice on row 10, over in the right-hand column, we have marked that as complete. Okay, so the fix was made. I redid the import and the error went away. Now, the other thing this can be used for is as kind of like a data inventory, so to speak. Once I mark them as complete and I'm done with in this case, the demographic import for the week, I would go up to the level 0 status and I would uncheck complete. it filters those rows and they are gone. So I only have a list of active errors for this particular domain. But if you wanted to do some analysis of this data to see, well, how many times have I gotten error message DM1103, I think, I'm not sure if I got that right, about the career path code. And if I've gotten that error 200 times, maybe that's indicative of the fact that the folks that are doing this might need some additional training. So it's also a way to, identify your strengths and weaknesses. Strengths would be errors that don't occur. So it's going to be a little hard to know those, but weaknesses would be errors that are occurring frequently, that you may want to, target some education or professional development in that area to prevent those errors from occurring, because those are the ones we like best.
One thing go ahead.
The only other thing to note here is over in column A. Yes, the sometimes you get more than one error for the same student, and those errors may be related. In this case, the address is incorrect and the district of residence is not there either. And this is because in the SMS, the district of residence is based on the address. So through whatever means works for you, you may want to indicate records that affect the same student. So, and one fix may fix them both is the purpose for that. Okay, Helen, let me know if I missed anything there.
Nope, you're good. You're good. I am going to switch to a different tab,
Okay.
just to show you another sort of version, and this will be very evident what I said in the beginning, which is this is not quite ready for you, but it'll come, I promise. So in this one, you see in staff snapshot, there's also this assignee field, which is filled in. You have multiple people who you can assign to. So incidentally, in this sheet, when you hit complete, the whole row turns green. If it's no longer exporting, the whole row turns blue. Did it turn?
Yeah.
Whole row turns color. So we want to get this working for you, so that it's really evident and it's not just in one little cell that you're looking in to see the status of something. If I wanted to assign something to, let's say, my special ed director, because there's special ed stuff. Well, let's say it's your HR director, since it's working with staff snapshot. I have an error here and I want to assign it to me, right? So I want to assign it to Helen. That's
going to
great.
make a bet you were going to give it to me.
I don't have you in there.
Oh,
so there I am. I'm Helen. I can see if I look on the list, everything that's purple is going to be for me. But how do I know that unless I'm looking at the list? Who has used the assign feature in Sheets? It's great, right? Why is it great?
I don't have to communicate that for Sheets will do it for me.
Right.
So when I'm thinking about it and assign it, it automatically sends me an email and the person can see it, do it. I don't have to.
And then resolve it, and you still don't have to do anything.
Comment back on it, and then I can mark it as
Right. So in order to do that, I'm just going to make this this a little bit bigger. There you go. In order to do that, all you would do is go to the cell, not necessarily to the drop down, but just to the cell, right click it, and put in a comment. If you do it a different way, let me know. Put in a comment. Okay? So it shows you who is writing it, right? That's me. But if you @ someone here, right? It'll tell that person, right? It's going to notify that person that there's something that needs their attention. And then I can write I can write a message that says, make sure this error is cleared, or, whatever it is you want to write. And then you want to click the assign. checkbox right there and assign that. And it's going to tell me, great, it's been assigned to, I assigned it to myself, right? This is now interactive. So you can, if you clicked right here, it's going to say it's resolved. But what's also going to happen is you're going to get an email. You're going to get an email. You're going to get an email. Trust me, you're going to get an email that shows you what the issue is that you're dealing with, right? Or just that something has been assigned to you on this spreadsheet and that you need to go look at it.
And there will be a link in the email. If you click on it, it will take you to this place in the spreadsheet on this tab.
Yes. So you don't have to wonder, like, what tab was it on? What domain is it? What data?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about any of that. It'll take you right to it.
You just click on it. It takes you right here. You
Yeah.
will see all the information that the DDC has entered, such as the error, the analysis, and the proposed resolution. Yeah. Now, just on that note, that's great mid-year. You're getting 1 or 2 errors that go to each person. In September, when you do your initial imports and you get 50 errors in one domain, let's say for HR, we don't want to pick on them, but you're importing staff snapshot for the first time and you're getting blank staff IDs and whatnot. You may not want to assign every single cell to your contact in HR. You may simply in that case want to say, send them an email that says, or send them, click on one, have the email go there and say, in the text of the comment, say, there are multiple errors on this page that have been assigned to you. Please take a look.
Yeah.
Just so that they're not going to get 50 emails all at once.
So all I'm showing you at this point is that there's all these other tabs in here. Well, that one is not for.
Yeah, you hadn't done that one yet.
Sorry,
Sorry, I forgot. I was going to tell you.
And there are some other tabs here too that shows you where to go to get the timeline. This is another app that we created for a previous presentation, but thought it would be useful here too. It helps you know what code is what description. Apparently, I only get to pick the ones that are nothing. So you can see that a foreign exchange student is code 0022, enrollment in a paired exit code. So that's the color coded, right?
Okay. There's one tab we haven't covered yet. Were you saving?
What's that?
Okay. So,
Which one?
So when you do your imports, and again, this is more from an administrative level. Okay. When your administration says, how's level 0 looking? How many errors do we have? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the record count. Record counts.
Where?
To the left.
I can't get there. Hold on.
Go scroll up. Yeah.
Program counts?
Nope. All the way to the top.
Data
Record
team.
counts. One more down. There we go.
Sorry.
Okay. Just like the data team tab, which is color coded, this creates the same set of, uses the same color scheme. And one of the things I've always liked to do, and I think it's a good practice, is when I do an import, I keep track of the number of records, because it's a good indication of, okay, oh, I used to have 1,000 and now I have 200. Something might be wrong here. So
2 minutes, Pam.
2 minutes. Okay, so I put in the record counts. It automatically, there's a formula in the last record count column that picks up how many there were last week, and it shows me the discrepancy. When I change a number, why don't you change that 2 to a 0, Helen?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, go ahead, pick one. Change it to a 0. and hit enter. Okay, so if you do have errors, it's conditionally formatted to highlight them in yellow and red. And so you can track those, keep going over. You can track what your most recent import date is. Why don't you change that 7-4 to a 7-8 on row on, yeah.
Sorry, I took my glasses off. Can't see what you're talking about.
Okay, that snapshot row, column M. Nope, not that one, the other one. Column M. Nope. There you go.
Here, this one.
Yeah, change that to 7-8. So that's green if you've migrated in the last week. And then I don't know about you folks, but whenever I'm doing something, I may get interrupted like 1,000 times a day. So as I go through and I do the imports and I do the migrate, I update the status column in column O so that I know how far I got. So when I come back, I'm like, okay, which domain was I on? How far had I gotten? I can simply pick up where I left off. So was more for my own sanity than anything else. Okay.
And incidentally, the number of errors that you're getting from those previous tabs, the tabs do talk to each other in this worksheet. So when you update those numbers, like the error count, so you can see here, this is 0. It's pulling from another tab. So those will get populated. Anything that's in any of these rows, right? These are header rows for the next section for the type of errors that come beneath it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pulling. It's
Was
pulling
that clear?
the
Did
data
I
from
stop
that.
mid-sentence? I was okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, I do have a couple of other slides just for fun. Don't be a lone wolf, right? Don't go it alone. You definitely want to enlist your data verification pack. All of these peoples are there to help you, DDCs. Definitely make it a team sport. Okay. Have this as a central communication, have something as a central communication. It doesn't have to be this exactly, but you want that teamwork. These are also AI generated, just to let you know. I gave it some sort of prompt like wolves drooling at computers or stuff like that. So that's just an aside, fun kind of thing. Here's the wolf pack at DATAG. They were outside, and it's, they're having their lunch outside. Anyway, here are a few sayings about wolves that I dare you to talk about during the cocktail hour that follows this in just a couple of minutes. Go take a screenshot of that if you want. And what else do I have for you? I think, does anybody have any questions? I realize that this is possibly, looking at it, you're like, oh my God, you said it was going to be this simple centralizing thing, and there's a lot to it, and it looks confusing. I get you. I get you. It's a work in progress. We're going to make it better for you next week. Yeah.
As long as people are in you've shared it with them, they will automatically show up in that drop down?
No. The drop downs would have to be programmed by you in Google Sheets, which is very easy to do. Conditional formatting and drop downs. Yeah.
And we could maybe include a little blurb about how to easily go about and change those. Right, Helen?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just set you up.
Yes.
Just a thought, that last sheet you showed us where once you made it completed the entire line,
Yes.
Screen. On top of, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And it takes away from the fact that this sheet is blue because it's special.
Yep.
And if I'm going to give that to my team, and I'm going to say, you need to go on this tab, this tab, and this tab, and look for your purple.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's 20 rows that are purple.
Right.
It's getting to be a lot.
That's really good feedback. Thank you. We thought it was a lot also. So that's how it was working. We're shifting towards just the cell turning, so it's not so offensive to look at. We tried to pick colors that were easier on your eyes. They're not the Windows 95 yellow and red and cyan. We tried to make them a little bit more digestible for you. It is a lot. We're here to support you. It will be available. Are there any final questions before we go have a cocktail?
Oh, sorry, like Helen? Oh, no, go ahead, talk, I didn't know.
Like when it might actually be available for us.
We'll have it next week.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll put it up. I think. We haven't sent it to DATAG folks yet, but they'll have it next week.
And to piggyback on that, when they say available, is that available to anyone in this course or just Mid-Hudson? Or
Anyone who wants it. Anyone who wants it. It's a tool that we used when we were shared data coordinators for like 4 or 5 districts. Our service has changed. We no longer are providing that service. We're providing what they call an enhanced help desk service. And part of that enhanced help desk service includes all of the whatever gatekeeping we were doing, because we had this group of districts over here that paid for one thing, but you all didn't get it because you didn't pay for that. It's resources that are helpful for everyone, and we want to make sure that we are providing resources to help you do your jobs, so that we don't have to do your jobs.
Helen, the disembodied voice has one more thing to say.
Yes.
We've grown with this. It started small, okay? And so that really would be something
growing
to consider. Pick one other department that, as a DDC, pick one other department that you work with a lot, that you feel that tracking would help, and that you feel that the people within that department have a good skill set with Google. Roll it out there. And then next year, grow it to somebody else. Maybe all you want to do initially is work with your registrar and to take care of those demographics and enrollment records.
To get back, go ahead.
Yeah.
To get back to where we started with the butterfly effect.
So
The presentation we did, if you can pick one small thing to implement in your district, in your work, in your data management, that could have positive ripple effects through your whole district, right? So that's really the most important thing that I really want to say to you, is that hopefully there's some actionable small takeaway that you can take with you that could possibly affect much larger change. So thank you so much for coming. Pam, you're still on speaker. I'm turning you off though, so.
okay.
Everyone says hi.
I want to know who everyone is. Take a picture.
Thanks, Pam. Bye.
Bye.